What is up, guys? Welcome back to the Lumsden Motorsports Garage. I'm Wade Lumsden, and we are still working on body stuff, but I'm taking a quick reprieve. I want to be able to move forward with the body stuff, and I said that I wanted to work on my my brake adjuster. My rod was bent. You can see that nice little whoop in there. It was bent just enough to make it to where I could not adjust my my brakes at all. They were stuck where they were at. So real quick, I am going to fix this, hopefully get all this slammed back together and go straight back to doing body stuff. We don't have a whole lot of time left, so go. Let's get to work. Alright, I got my chunk of all thread here. This is the chunk that I bought from the last time that I had to fix this. You know, when you hit a wall really hard and you slam on that brake, this bends. It was doing really good all the way up until I crushed it. So anyways, gonna get this marked, cut, boom, and then go through the assembly of this whole deal here. And this is actually still looking really clean. There's a nice little adjuster or little Heim in there, and I still got good clean anti-seize in there from the last time that I did this. So most of this is looking good. Gonna get that cut and start putting it together. Alrighty, got my pedal cleaned up, got my new rod on. I have it adjusted. It's at about the halfway mark plus, so I make mine slightly longer than what they come stock so that I can actually put my adjuster on this end, the thing that actually, you know, that you twist to make it go on and off. So there's like a nut there, but then I made it a 1/4 inch longer so that I could have a jam nut on this side, because I've had those come loose before. So mine's got a jam nut. Got that nice and cleaned up. We'll get ready to, this is tough to do with one hand. We'll get that shoved inside there, maybe. Alright, there we go. And as you can see, this spins around just all beautiful, like just like so. And so what actually happens, I've done a video like this in the past. It was actually it was probably one of the first 10 videos I did when I started this channel. But so what actually happens is this is locked in place solid on this side. This one over here is locked solid on this side, and when you spin the deal, it actually moves this to left to right on the inside. And as you can see, if I move it all the way that way and depress on the brake, it'll give you lots of leverage to one side and not so much on the other. So what you're doing is you're actually, when you step on the brake, you're actually determining which side is getting pressure first. Not necessarily which side's getting more pressure, but which side's getting pressure first. So I move it all the way to this side, and I step on the brake and I push up against the deals. This side obviously is going to get more pressure first, because this side had way more leverage to get pushed up against and pushed back, and so it'll react after the other side, and vice versa going this way, right? Go over here and step on the brake, right? I do the lever action, boom, push that way, which then there's the those rods right there of the master cylinder, that one and that one, push back on this rod, boom, and they're pushing back on it evenly because I have them set up to where they press evenly. And then as you can see, this one will go back and this one will react faster, right? Because this one looks like it'll push first before that one. So you're not really adjusting pressure per se. You're adjusting which brake acts faster. Now, in the end, that does relate to a pressure difference, because if you're halfway through the travel on one and only a quarter of the way through the travel on the other, you're obviously going to have more pressure in the one that's halfway versus the other Granted, we're talking about master cylinders that are exact same size. There's things you can do with different size master cylinders, different size brake calipers, all that other happy stuff, but that is way beyond the scope of this video. So for now, just know that that's what it does. Is it really what it does is adjusts which brake gets action first, and that's how you adjust front to rear brakes. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get these adjusted. I did learn an important thing here. When you get these adjusted, there's supposed to be just enough slop. There's actually a call out that you're supposed to be able to get with a feeler gauge. In between there will be a washer there, and then this little deal, which is what actually screws onto the master cylinder, right? But there's supposed to be a perfect gap in there that is called out via the manufacturer. I learned two things in tearing this apart. One, yes, do the adjustment per manufacturer's specifications, get as close to it as you possibly can. Two, if you run into this exact same situation that I did and the rod is only slightly bent, this is where I probably could have gotten lucky if I'd taken the time to look at this earlier. If your rod is only slightly bent like mine is, having it tight, first off, having it tight to specifications will only allow it to bend so far. And then I realized, oh, well, if I would have come back and loosened this up just a little bit, because as I was taking it apart, I unscrewed this by one round, one full revolution, and it was able to move like it should on the inside there. Now, is that right? No, definitely not right. But if you were in a really tough spot and you didn't have another piece of all thread laying around to be able to make one, didn't have time to do this, you might be able to reach down in there and you know, back some stuff off and get one twist on this side and put it back together, just to give you something to be able to adjust your brakes. Because I tell you what, the last 6 races or so that I haven't had it, it's actually been kind of tough. There was a handful of times I really wish I would have had more front brake, and where this got bent was at full rear brake. So it's just kind of the way the cards fell as far as timing and doing other stuff. So all right, time to go back to putting this together. Like I said, it's very simple. Washer, this deal. There's a gap in there, look it up. Mine's this is a Southwest Speed deal, but I think Willwood also has information posted, and I'm pretty sure they're going to be close to the same. And then I just got to get the pedal back in there and get it all hooked up. I did have to loosen up all of my bolts that hold this down just to get it propped up enough to get the pedal, get this pin all the way out to get the pedal out. But way easier with all the body panels and stuff off. In the past, I would have had to take that whole thing out because I wouldn't have been able to get my arms in there. So whew. All right, I'm gonna get this thing put together. So I got my deal adjusted here. I'm gonna see if I can do this with, whoop. Okay, I got my deal adjusted here. I'm trying to do this with just my 2 hands. So, but as you can see, it slides back and forth, up and down inside there like it's supposed to. Not a whole lot of play in it, back and forth. It's like I said, go to your manufacturer and figure out what that adjustment's actually supposed to be. But you travel it all the way to one side, make sure it does what it's supposed to do, travel it all the way to the other side, make sure it does what it's supposed to do. And by that I mean that the rod, when you push on it, if the rod was pushed all the way over here, right, then the bearing would be over on this side, and then you would step on the brake, this side would stay fairly solid and this side would go backwards, delivering pressure to that master cylinder later, and then vice versa. So make sure it does that, run it through its cycles. Now I just got to get it installed. Well, sweet, the brake adjuster is now done in there. I'm happy with it, and this is what I was talking about. I put a jam nut up against my brake adjuster. Runs in and out good, just the way I want it. So back to body stuff. All right, got the front dash portion in and installed. Deck is basically done except for my little L pieces that cap off the front and cap off the rear way back here. Whoop. Still got to get those installed. And then for those of you that are like, oh my god, you didn't replace the whole entire deck, it's gonna look so bad, it's gonna be so ugly. Not really. I mean, if you take a look here, like this is new, this is cleaned up old. Yeah, it looks a little different up close, right? You can see it different. It doesn't look like that, but you know, from the stands, it's still gonna be shiny, and it's probably gonna end up looking like this after the first race anyways, because it's gonna get mud on it, and it's gonna get washed, and it's gonna get scratched, and it's just kind of the way it is. I think that's why guys go with flat black, because it ends up looking flat black anyways after a long period of time. But that portion is done. Brake pedal is done. Now it's time to move on to other pieces. I now have sail panels done. I did shorten them a little bit. As you can see, when I push it up here, I'm already going to have to push it down and put a little pressure on it to get a little bit of a bow. The rules state that you can't put a bend or crease in those. You can't, yeah, like a hard bend, hard crease, but you can like force them to bow. But I think part of why my roof is ripping out like this all the time is part of that pressure. So shortened this thing up a little bit, hopefully to relieve some of the upward pressure. Remember, when I would normally mount this, I would pop rivet it to the roof, and then I'd be down here like shoving this up to get it flush with the deck, and it was a pain. It was a pain, though. I do like that look of that big bow. We're allowed up to 4 inches in the center, but I obviously am taking a bunch of that out, so I'm glad that that's done. I'm starting to clear off the roof. You probably saw that it was a huge mess throughout all the rest of the other videos, but gonna clear off the roof, and I think we're going to make a roof next, so more to come. We'll have to catch that stuff on the next videos, so don't forget to like and subscribe. Any questions, comments, concerns down below. Thanks for watching, guys. I really appreciate it. Check out the Lumsden Motorsports Facebook page. Reach out to me there if you'd like a Lumsden Motorsports Win the Show, Be the Show t-shirt. And since my brother's not here, keep the dirty side down. We'll check you next time.